Okay. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Sorry if it sounds too loud, but they requested upstairs, they requested me to be as close as possible to two mics. So, tonight, inshallah, we're gonna talk about comparing ourselves to others. Let's take an example. You're outside school waiting to be picked up. You cannot help but notice the other fancy cars. You see all your friends being picked up in those fancy cars. Now you start feeling bad and sorry for yourself because your mom or dad does not own a fancy car. In fact, they own an old car. And in fact, you might feel ashamed and you say, I do not want to ride with them. I don't want to be seen riding with them. You really disturb me, sorry. Please don't move. Okay? So this is one example of comparison. You're comparing yourself to others. You're comparing what you have to what other people have. So that is one example of comparison. Example 2. Let's take another example. I'm sure many of you have social media, one way or another. Oh, I guess we have the sisters coming. Let's give them a minute. Don't look away, just look at me, but give them a minute, inshallah. All right. Actually, let me repeat because they probably missed it while they were coming down. So I'll repeat the example. And maybe some of you can relate to that. That's important actually, and we're gonna see different examples of how sometimes, subconsciously even, without thinking, we start comparing ourselves to other people. So again, the first example I mentioned, for those who missed it, you're waiting outside school, waiting for your parents to come and pick you up. You start noticing all these nice cars, maybe a Mercedes, maybe a BMW or whatever, it could be a Lexus. And you start seeing your friends getting into those cars. And then you remember, it dawns on you that your parents, your mom and dad, do not have a nice car. Maybe they have an old car. And you start feeling this, you feel sorry for yourself, you feel ashamed, you don't want to be seen in that car, that old car, and you start comparing yourself to other people. By the way, my dad had a really old car, he was very proud of it, and he refused to change it. He thought it was the best car around. Some people are like that, there's nothing wrong with it. But this is an example of comparison. When we start comparing ourselves to other people, what they have. Another common example today, because of social media, right? I'm sure most of you have social media one way or another. If you're not on Facebook, you're probably on Instagram, or on TikTok, or on Snap. And what do you do there? You're always scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. What do you do? What happens when you scroll? You're looking at other people's lives. That's what you're doing, essentially. And sometimes you're following a celebrity. They're rich and famous, right? What do we usually see when we look at social media? Oh, we see people taking vacations, very nice places, exotic places. We see rivers, we see oceans, blue oceans, very clear water. And you're stuck in your house, you're looking at your swimming pool, it's not even clean, you can't even swim in it. And you start feeling bad for yourself. You see all these delicious meals on Facebook, you're scrolling, you see a huge, delicious meal that you cannot have. right? You see a seemingly great relationship. You see people celebrate. Oh, this is a graduation on Facebook or whatever else. Oh, I graduated with honors, yay! And you see like 100 or 200 likes. And you're saying, I can't even graduate. Or I'm not getting a good grade. Or you see people getting married for those older people. Like, I cannot get married, but look, I'm looking at Facebook and these people are celebrating marriage. And I cannot get married. And on and on and on. Again, you start feeling sad. You feel sorry for yourself. I mean, the medium that was invented to connect people, now it is a medium of comparison. All of it, from beginning to end. It's a medium of comparing our lives to other lives. The medium that was created to connect people to each other. That was the intent, by the way, if you did not know. Now it is a medium to disconnect us from reality. But that is another example of comparison. We do comparisons all the time. Now, why do we do that? Well, in fact, all our life, since we're born, we're taught how to compare, whether we realize it or not. You know, you go to school, and the minute you get a grade, what do? You start asking your friends, you start asking the people around you, how much did you get? And you start comparing. Oh, I got a better grade. Or she got a better grade. He got a better grade. It's all comparisons. That's how we rate people. You go to your house. Again, you see comparison. Why can't you listen like your brother? That's a comparison. Why can't you do your homework like your sister? So we're raised with that. And not all of it is bad, by the way. But in fact, in reality, if you think about it, I forgot I was going to bring a measuring stick and I forgot the last minute. All of us actually carry a measuring stick, like a ruler. It's invisible. It's in our head. Please come in. Oh, you want to pray? Sure. We all carry a measuring stick. We don't realize it, but it's there. We're always using it. I mean, when you're young, you use it for physical things, like how tall I am. Oh, you notice other people are taller than me. Or people tell you, you're short, you're a midget. So we already started this comparison. Who's taller, who's shorter? Right? And later we get into more interesting comparisons. Right? Who's richer? Who's more popular? Right? In high school, you have to be popular, right? Who's skinnier? And all of that. All of these are comparisons. Now the problem with that is that when you have these comparisons, it's going to develop into what we call a want. What is it? A want. I want his career. I want her body. I want his house. That's how you think. Internally, that's what you're thinking. I crave their food. I long for their vacation. It's all a want that you can never satisfy. And that's why it's gonna kill you. So today we're gonna talk about the dangers of comparisons and how miserable you're gonna be if you live like that. But let's see what the Quran tells us. What does Islam tells us about that? Islam has a lot to say about that. The one ayah, remember last time we made a promise, we only mentioned one ayah and one hadith. So it's easy to remember. You can't complain with too many ayah, I can't remember the Arabic, all of that. So one ayah, one hadith. The one ayah I want to share with you today is from Surat Taha, surah number 20, ayah number 131. In that ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet and told all of us, alayhi salam, I'll say it in Arabic and try your best, please try your best to if you don't memorize it or if you've not heard it before, at least focus on some words, some keywords I'm gonna stress. And inshallah, you'll be able to memorize it and know the meaning of it. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَا, I'll do it, slowly. وَلَا تَمُدَّنَّ عَيْنَيْكَ. Do not extend your eyes. I'll tell you about the meaning later. Don't worry about the meaning like in totality. Just look at the word meaning. وَلَا تَمُدَّنَّ عَيْنَيْكَ. Do not extend your eyes إِلَى مَا مَتَّعْنَا بِهِ, to the pleasure that we have given others, أَزْوَاجًا مِّنْهُمْ, couples of them, or pairs, we'll talk about that. زَهْرَةَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, the flower of this life. We know what a flower is. We'll talk about that. لِنَفْتِنَهُمْ فِيهِ, so that we try them, we test them. So keep that in mind as well. Comparison, and you look at others, you think they're lucky, they could be tested. وَرِزْقُ رَبِّكَ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. The provision of your Lord is far better and more lasting. Okay, what does that mean? First, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, do not extend your eyes. How can you extend your eyes? You don't pull your eyes out of your face, right? Extending your eyes is when you look and you keep looking. You're staring. You keep looking at something for a long time. You keep looking at other people, how they live. You even stalk them. You're so interested. You want to know how they eat, how they sleep, all of that. This is extending your eye, your eyesight. You keep looking at other people's lives. Instead of focusing on yourself, you're focusing on someone else's life. وَلَا تَمُدَّنَّ عَيْنَيْكَ. Do not extend your eyes. Do not keep looking at other people. This is the root of comparison when you do that. When you keep looking at what other people are doing, what car they drive, what house they live in, how big the house is, how big the kitchen is. I mean, people of all ages do that, by the way. Young people, old people, all of us do that sometimes. If you keep looking at other people's lives, you will fall into the trap of comparison. And yes, it is a trap. It is a trap. You're going to be trapped in that prison of comparison the rest of your life. Now what happens, and that's what the ayah tells us, you will only see their good side. That is the flower. Remember the flower that is mentioned in the ayah? Zahra. Remember this word. Zahra means what? A flower. All you're able to see from their lives, you don't see the bad side. You see what? The flower. It's like you look at a tree, and all you can see from that tree are the flowers. You don't see the thorns. You don't see the dry leaves. You don't see any of that. All you can see is the flower. Likewise, this is exactly what happens. When you look at someone else's life, all you're able to see is what? The flower. You don't see anything bad. That's a problem. It looks like a flower. It looks appealing. It looks beautiful. Oh, look at their beautiful life. Look at my miserable life. That's the kind of comparison you start making. Oh, the grass is greener on the other side. Or, as my wife says, the grass is greener where you water it. That's a side note. But it's a famous idiom. The grass is greener where? On the other side. But in reality, the Quran says, don't be fooled. Don't be a fool. It is a test. It is a test for you and for them. They could be tried. They could be, what you're seeing as a heaven, you think it's a heaven, right? It could be a hell for them. You're seeing it as a heaven, but they could be living in hell. You don't realize it. So what the Quran says at the end, the ayah, what it says at the end, rather focus on yourself. So look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in that ayah at the end. He said, وَرِزْقُ رَبِّكَ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. That's another word we should remember. It's mentioned in the Quran on a regular basis. What is it? Rizq. Rizq is what? Rizq is provision, sustenance. What does that mean here? It means what Allah gave you, that is rizq. That is something you feel, you touch, it's yours. Allah gave it to you already. You have so much. You don't realize it because you're not looking at yourself, you're looking at other people. But here the Quran says what Allah gave you is far better. Just learn to focus on it. And it's far lasting, it's long lasting. Now what could that be? You might say, I don't think I'm fortunate. Everybody has it. You have to look. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you some knowledge. Maybe you're smart, smarter than other people. Maybe you're wise. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you a skill that no one else has. Maybe he blessed you with a beautiful family. You don't have to be rich to be happy. You have a beautiful family. You have a dad that cares. You know, a lot of these rich families, the dad doesn't even care, or he's not even in the picture. They're too busy. At least you can sit down and have a conversation. There's so many things you can think about. So here, the Quran says, this is the true provision. What you see outside is just like a flower. It fades away. It falls. What you have is rizq. Rizq is sustenance. It stays with you. So take a look at it. And basically it's saying to you, compare yourself to yourself. If you have to, compare yourself to yourself. That's how you improve. That's how you get better. You compare yourself today to yourself yesterday. So this is what the Quran tells us. Now, why is it bad? Let's talk a bit about that. Why is comparison so bad? Okay. First of all, comparison does not make any sense. Again, you only see the outside of someone else, and the outside looks shiny. It looks very nice. It looks shiny, beautiful. But you don't know what they're going through. And guess what? Everybody living on this earth, their life is not perfect. I hate to break it to you, but that's true. Everyone has bad days. Everyone has good things and bad things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give someone everything. Those people do not exist. If you think those people exist, you're wrong. They do not exist on this earth. All right? No one is given everything. And this is why this comparison is not fair. Because you're comparing the good that other people have to the bad that you have, that you think you have. See why this comparison is unfair? Again, you're comparing the good that other people have with the bad that you think you have. And this is not a fair comparison. As a rule, and I want you to remember this rule, everyone has good and bad in their lives. Everyone. You may not know it, you may not realize it, you may not see it, but believe me, it is there. And by the way, if you get to know them enough, you go to their houses, you get to learn about their life and their family, and you know it in detail, you're gonna see all the bad. All right? So as a rule, everyone on this earth has good things and bad things. All right? The other reason why comparison is bad, because it is gonna make you miserable. Comparison is gonna make you what? Miserable. In fact, there's a quote, comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is what? It is the thief of joy. Like it will rob you from any happiness. It's not good for you. It's gonna destroy you. Again, comparison will make you focus on what you don't have. Instead of focusing on what you have, you're gonna be focusing on what? On what you do not have. It will make you a follower. All right? Because you always want what someone else has. You're gonna be the shadow of someone else. And that's not good. You should be a leader. You should not be a follower. Why do you wanna be like someone else? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you your own life. Be yourself. Make your own story. Create your own story. Why do you want to be in someone else's story? You're writing your chapter 1 and you want to be someone else's chapter 20. Why? Be yourself. Write your own story. In fact, comparing yourself to others is like comparing apples and oranges. We know that's not good, right? Everybody agrees. Common sense. We do not compare what? We do not compare apples and oranges. When you compare yourself to some other people, in effect, you are comparing apples and oranges. Because no one's life is like someone else's. Everybody's life is different. Everybody is endowed and blessed with a unique life. So when you're comparing yourself to someone else's life, you're comparing apples and oranges. And that's totally illogical. Does it make any sense? Okay, so what is the hadith of today? Okay, one of the promises also, we're not going to make it long, so we'll make it short, to the point. So let's now focus on the hadith of the day. This hadith is narrated by Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. It's muttafaq alayh, meaning it's agreed upon. Meaning the two major compilers of hadith, Bukhari and Muslim, agreed on it. This could be on the quiz, by the way, so pay attention. By the way, alhamdulillah, today we're blessed with a brother who decided to give you prizes in the form of cash. I'm not going to tell you how much yet, but jazakallah khair, brother, for that. This is the basically the prizes for those who answer questions from the lecture. I also think I have something over there as well. Okay, the hadith. Pay attention. I still hear some hissing. Enjoy silence. Let's do one moment of silence. You know, some scholars of Islam, when they wanted to narrate a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, used to take a shower just for that purpose. Just out of respect for the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. In this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ gave us actually a cure, a solution for this comparison, because comparison is a disease, it's a sickness. So he gave us a solution, a cure. So what he said, and it's like 3 statements. انظروا إلى من هو أسفل منكم. انظروا, look, إلى من هو أسفل منكم. At the one who is below you, meaning the one who's less fortunate. Doesn't mean below you like you're better, no. It means someone who's less fortunate. He's not given as much as you are. Okay? So he said, look at the people who are less fortunate than you are. Second statement, وَلَا تَنْظُرُوا إِلَى مَنْ هُوَ فَوْقَكُمْ. Do not look. It's like a prohibition, like he's forbidding us. I mean, I can even dare to say it's haram even. Because the Prophet is prohibiting it. He said, do not do it. And we keep doing it. He said, do not look at the people above you. Meaning the people who are more fortunate than you are. Again, we see an order, we see a prohibition. And we have to take it seriously. So, he's asking us not to look at the people who are more fortunate than us. As we say today, the rich and famous. And these are the people we love to look at. We study their lives. We know exactly what they wear, what they eat, who they hang out with, and all of that. But the Prophet ﷺ is telling us, do not keep looking at those people who are considered more fortunate. All right. And then he said, فَهُوَ أَجْدَرُ أَلَّا تَزْدَرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. Because this will prevent you from belittling the blessings and the bounties of Allah upon you. So let's look at that carefully. Let me ask you. You can answer. First question. What happens, all of you, I want you, like even if you're young, think about this. What happens when you look at the people who are less fortunate? What happens? What do you think? Tell me. Yes.
So, if you're like a nice person, you would feel bad for them. But
You feel bad for them, okay?
But if you're like a person who's like kind of spoiled, you would feel like
You feel entitled, right? You feel better. Okay, what else? Yes.
you feel blessed from Allah.
Very good. When you look at the people who are less fortunate, what do you feel? You feel blessed from Allah. That's exactly what happens. You start realizing what you have. You start focusing on what? On what you have. When you look at the people who are less fortunate, you start appreciating the bounties of Allah upon you. You start appreciating the blessings of Allah upon you. You start seeing them because for a while you were blind. You could not see those blessings that you had. So when you look at the people less fortunate, what happens? You start seeing, you realize all these blessings that you already have. Okay, second question. What happens when you look at the people who are more fortunate?
Feel bad for yourself.
You feel bad for yourself, yes?
Like you want to be like them.
You want to be like them, you wish, and you never be maybe, but you keep wishing that you're like them. Oh, I'm going to wake up one day and I'm going to be like this famous singer, this famous comedian, whatever. What else?
You want to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like that you get the body the next day.
Okay, what else? Yeah, anyone? You want to try? Over there? Yeah.
Like you can feel like bad for yourself that like they're more when they have like more money than you.
You're gonna feel bad for yourself, right? And you're gonna say like, they have all of this, I have nothing. But essentially what happens, it's gonna force you to look at all the things that you do not have. So it's the opposite reaction. When you look at the people that are less fortunate, you're gonna see all the things that you have, that you already have. When you look at the people who are more fortunate, the opposite reaction happens. You're gonna start seeing all the stuff that you do not have. And that's what's gonna make you miserable. All right? So it's a very interesting hadith, actually. It can change your life. It can change the way you look at life. And as a result, it'll either make you a grateful person or an ingrate. Totally ungrateful. That's what's going to happen. So the outcome is very, very severe and very, very important. Like it's very important. It's going to make you either someone who appreciates and who is thankful and grateful, or someone who's totally the opposite. Anything you have, you don't see as important. You don't see. You're scaring me. You want, oh yeah, please go. You don't have to crawl like that. Just go. All right. Oh, okay. Sorry. He's your son. Okay. So, actually, that is the end. That's all I have. Very simple. So I hope the lesson was clear. I hope you got also like some of the important words from the ayah, from the hadith. If you still have any questions before the quiz, let me know. If you want me to repeat the ayah or the hadith, so it kind of clicks. Yes. Yes. So one more time, we're gonna repeat the ayah, so if it comes on the quiz, you're ready. The ayah. I'll do it slowly. وَلَا تَمُدَّنَّ عَيْنَيْكَ. Do not extend your two eyes, عَيْنَيْكَ. إِلَى مَا مَتَّعْنَا بِهِ. To the pleasure we have given. أَزْوَاجًا مِّنْهُمْ. Like to the couples of them. It really refers to the families and the houses, because this is where usually people look. You're looking at someone else's house or family. You see how blessed you think they are blessed, like in many different ways. So basically, people look at those things. They look at the houses and the families of other people. So, Zahrat al-hayat al-dunya, that's a key word. Zahra means a flower. The flower of this life, right? That's what you focus on. You think, all their life is full of flowers, but your life is full of misery. So you're focusing on the flower that they have. لِنَفْتِنَهُمْ فِيهِ, but in reality this could be a test, a fitna. And then it says, وَرِزْقُ رَبِّكَ خَيْرُ وَأَبْقَى. The other keyword is rizq, which means sustenance and provision. What Allah gave you is sustenance. What Allah gave you is provision. And that is better for you and more lasting. Omar, give me 1 more minute, inshallah, and then you can talk. So that is the ayah. Should we repeat the hadith as well? To be careful, to be ready. So the hadith says, again, it's made of 3 sentences. The first one, انظروا, look, another, right? انظروا, look, إلى من هو أسفل منكم, to those who are less fortunate. ولا, the opposite, like negation. Do not look. ولا تنظروا إلى من هو فوقكم. Do not look at the people who are more fortunate. فهو أجدر. This Arabic is a bit tough, so I may not go into all the details. فهو أجدر ألا تزدروا نعمة الله عليكم. It means, so you do not belittle the blessings of Allah on you. If you're able to memorize the Arabic, super good. You're a hero. You're a superman or woman. If you're not and can say the English, that's still fine. Okay. Now, do we have any questions? Oh, there.
Surah is the first ayah from.
It is Surat Taha. That is Surah number 20.
We get them into our own hadith.
Okay, sure. Good luck. Okay, any other questions? No questions? So either it was super clear or any questions? Yes.
In the Hadith, we were asked to look at the people who are below us, right? I'm not sure if
Guys, can you listen for a second?
I'm not sure if this is also can be a test. Like Qarun, for example, he felt like he felt rich, he felt very powerful, and looking at the people who was below than him, give him bad impact on himself. Like, and there is one more guy from Bani Israel. He was good, and then when he got like he felt like so knowledgeable, and he felt like he is above people, and then because of that he went to a different route or different route. So I'm not sure if we should look at all, either below or above. And here it like the ayah is saying, don't look at what they have in their hands, which can be like the things that the people that above you. But in ayahs it didn't tell us to look at people below you. In hadith it says that way. Yes, you might feel blessed, you might thank Allah for it, but in the same time it might be a test for you that will put you in a different way. So I'm not sure if we should look.
Well, I mean, it's a word of the Prophet, so I'm not gonna debate that. But let me explain that. The Prophet actually, ﷺ, as if he was afraid of this happening, and this is why he mentioned the intent of that looking. So he said, فَهُوَ أَجْدَرُ. If he stopped in the middle, I think he might have a point. Because this looking can have different intentions. It's absolutely possible that I look at other people and I look down at other people. I think that's what you're trying to say. Like, I'm looking down at other people. Here the Prophet ﷺ did not say that. He said, do it like this, so that. What is the so that? So that you do not belittle the bounties of Allah. So he told us the intention of that looking. But obviously, if you look at other people in order to belittle them, or to put them down, or to think that you're better, or that you're, feel proud and arrogant, obviously that's not allowed. And we have it from many other hadith that we're not supposed to have this kibr, this arrogance. And in fact, in a different hadith, when the Sahaba asked them, what is arrogance? What is kibr? Because we like to wear nice clothing. They thought this could be kibr, this could be arrogance. He said the definition of kibr is two things. He said, بطر الحق وغمط الناس. بطر الحق is when you listen to, you hear a truth and you deny it because it came from someone you don't like. That's بطر الحق. غمط الناس is when you belittle other people. So obviously it is haram to belittle other people or to think low of them or to look down on them. So this is well explained in other hadith. But here the Prophet's intention is very well defined. The reason you do that, and hey, if this doesn't work for you, you don't have to do it. I mean, this is mostly for the average person. Maybe for the rich people, they shouldn't do it. I don't know, because maybe there's nothing above them anyways, right? Right? But I'm saying on average, the vast majority of people are not the Qaroons. They're not those super rich people who, Qaroon, you know how much wealth he had. They're not those like very knowledgeable people. They're average people. Those people, it's very suitable for them, this hadith, okay? So yeah, if we put it in the right context, I think definitely it is a cure, a solution to that problem. But yeah, we have to understand it properly and apply it properly as well. Jazakallah khair. Okay, anything else? I guess you guys are ready for the quiz. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. We do? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Surah? Surat Taha. Taha. Number 20. Surah number 20. Okay.